Hi, I'm Locke Wilford, and Dublin Chevrolet is proud to sponsor high school football.
Go Crusaders, go Raiders, go Falcons, go Irish, go Chevy.
Call, click, or come by Dublin Chevrolet.
Dublin Lawrence Arts Council presented the Atlanta Pops this weekend, and we caught up with Dr. Jason Altieri, conductor for the Atlanta Pops. Welcome everyone. We're at Theater Dublin today, and we have the conductor himself, Jason Altieri. Dr. Jason Altieri.
Dr.
Do people
Jason
call you
Altieri.
doctor all the time?
Well, at
Not
school they
enough.
call me Dr. A. It's fine.
Where does that come from? So it seems like that you really enjoy music, obviously. You wouldn't be a conductor. You've gotten to travel so many different places, and here you are again. You said earlier 9 years you've been coming.
9 years.
to
Feels
Dublin.
like home. Feels like home.
Yeah, you always put on such a wonderful show. The
Thank you.
energy that you bring is just so welcoming and wonderful. We love it here. We really do. So, we're pleased to have you in today and pleased to be able to speak with you. About how many musicians do you bring with you?
About 38.
Fills
So
up the stage.
yeah, we fill up a stage. I mean, it's we still keep it pretty small, but that allows us to do just about anything. We can get on the road, fit any stage in the state or in the southeast. I mean, you name it. We just go just about anywhere. So it's great. It's a lot of fun.
So you guys come through Georgia, several different places. You go up to North
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely.
over.
We have a couple of places that have. Dublin, I think, has the record for 15 years of bringing us out here. But you got a couple places in Alabama trying to jockey for position.
They're coming along behind us.
They're coming along.
We'll have to keep it coming.
Yeah,
have to keep it going.
it's great.
The energy, again, that you bring, the music that you bring, I guess you change your show up each time you come to us. So
Every time, we try to keep it fresh. We try to, what we say, reinvent the wheel every time we come to Dublin. I mean, that's part of the challenge, but it's also part of the fun.
Yeah, and you could hear the same songs, like some of the melodies that you've done in the past from, different, I guess, television performances or movies, I should say, movie themes that you play. You just bring such life to them, and people resonate with that, and it just takes you back. And again, there's so much energy to that. But let's talk a little bit about the show that you're bringing to us today.
Right.
What do we expect?
Well, we're bringing on Katie Deal. She's been a very close friend of the Pops for a good long time now, and we have a few arrangements of songs that she really owns. I mean, she just loves. These are songs that are very personal to her, so we've made these arrangements that really showcase her in a great way, and it's a lot of fun for us to collaborate together. We've done that a good deal now, so it's a lot of fun. And we have some new numbers that we have that we've had some new arrangements made by a couple of our staff arrangers. Which I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but on the show it's going to be a pretty exciting couple of new numbers that we have, it's also a walk through the American Songbook, which is what we do best, because these are the players that play in all the Broadway shows, best players in town. They can do just about anything.
Yeah.
Make me look good.
Well, and you make them look good as well. But when you take that baton and you start a show, you start a performance for an audience, what kind of feeling does that give you?
Well, I tell you, I've done hundreds of performances now. I still get nervous, but it's that nervous energy that helps me keep working and do my best in the show.
Yeah.
And I feed off the energies. I found out a long time ago the energies that come off the audience, come off the ensemble. I'm kind of addicted to it. So it's a lot of fun for me. But we're all musicians in our family, and we kind of have a little thing that we say before we go on stage. We go, "You scared?" You go, "Yeah." You go, "Good."
Good. Yeah, that's a good place to be.
It's a good place to be. It keeps you honest.
Yeah. You always want to do better, and that's obvious. You've gotten to travel quite a bit. It's not just around Atlanta. You grew up in Atlanta?
Yeah, grew up in Atlanta, just down the road.
Yeah, and then you've moved recently, right?
Yeah, I'm living in Reno, Nevada. Been there 10 years. And very different, very, very dry. I'm not used to humidity anymore. But it's really beautiful out there. It's very different, kind of the old pioneer West. But it's fascinating to be out there because living in the desert, you have Reno and you have Las Vegas, and it has about 7 hours in between them, in the middle of desert, nothing. And it's a fascinating drive, but I'm always happy to come home, though.
Yeah. But you know your way around out there now, right?
Not quite. I'm still learning.
Okay, and your responsibilities out there
I'm the associate conductor of the Reno Philharmonic. I do a lot of their pop shows. I've recently been conducting the ballet company out there in Reno. I also teach at the University of Nevada. I've been there 10 years. I do the University Orchestra there. And I conduct the Youth Symphony for the Reno Philharmonic. So I'm kind of part teacher, part preacher.
Jason, how wonderful is that? You're just living a dream, aren't you?
You know, there are a lot of conductors out there. It could be a tough road, but I'm darn lucky, and I get a chance to work with some of the best musicians anywhere, and I just love it.
What do you tell that young musician? Because they come from everywhere, Jason. They come from rural towns. They come from small,
Absolutely.
Big cities. We have young people who perform in, in concerts, who perform in contests now.
Yeah.
And very impressive young people. Well, what do you tell them? How do they get to the point where they're involved with something like this?
The first thing I always say to a young musician is keep listening to music. Keep listening to the best players out there. There's no better way to get inspired but then by learning and listening and learning from the best. And also, don't be a jerk because the music world is very small. We all know each other. And you'll find that if you're easy to work with, you're a good player, and you're a professional, you're going to do fine. You're going to do just fine.
Good advice. So, who influenced you greatly growing up?
Oh, I'd have to say my father. He got my first conducting lessons from him. He used to conduct the Atlanta Youth Symphony. He was the founding conductor of that. And we used to just sit there and watch scores go by, and he'd give me pointers. He still gives me pointers. He's like, why'd you do it that way? That didn't work, did it? I'm like, well, no. So I learned a lot about professionalism and musicianship from him, and just, how to do my business and do it in a professional way. Get my stuff done in the time allotted. Otherwise, it's my fault.
Great lesson to learn.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you listen to now? If we got in and we pulled your playlist right now of what you're listening to, what you listen to here.
Anything from Louis Armstrong to Mel Torme to Eminem to Justin Timberlake to Beyonce. Especially in the pops, can't live in a bubble. We do just about every style you can, from Bach to rock, so we do it all, and we all do it all well, but that's why we have to keep our feet moving. So one of the things that I have in my beginning conducting class is I have all my students come up with 9 songs that are personal to them, and I have them assign a tempo to each song, from slow to fast. And it kind of gives me a window into their personalities, what they're listening to. Something I hadn't heard, I give it a listen, So that kind of keeps me up on things what my students are enjoying. But you find a classic song is a classic song that really goes from generation to generation. So that's been a neat thing to discover in my teaching career. Yeah.
So tonight, do we expect you to come out with red pants or a red vest? Or?
I'm not going to tell you.
What is that all about? You just love the color red, don't you?
Well, all right. Well, I will tell the viewers it is my favorite color. Yeah. I admit it. But yeah, it's I found out a long time ago. It's not about the conducting; it's about the clothing. So
Okay. Well, you got the best of both worlds. I think you got it figured out there, Jason.
Well, I try. That's what I said. Every year, it's Dublin that really kicks off our season. This is how we start everything off, is through Dublin. So that's why we try to reinvent the wheel and really bring a great show for everyone here, because you guys are family.
Yeah. So what do you say to those people out there who are not a part of our Dublin Arts Council now? Why should they become a part of it? Why should they support it?
Arts are in everything. It's in everything. It's from the cafe that you go to. It's from the paintings on the wall to the design of your TV. Art is in everything. There is music in everything. You hear it in commercials, movies, elevators. It's everywhere. It really is everywhere. It's also easy to take for granted, But as long as people are aware of the arts that's around them, I think people can really be well, have a greater sense of ownership for the arts is in their community. And it is in every single community, doesn't matter how large or how small.
Yeah. And we're blessed to have a great arts council here, 15 years strong, 9 of which Jason has been here.
15 years.
Yeah. And we want to continue it. So we want to give you the information now. You be a part of the Arts Council, and you can come to events like this, and hopefully, if you're not, you'll plan on the next one. And we're so pleased to have you here. Thank you so much, Jason.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Crazy for feeling so.
Also appearing with the Atlanta Pops this year was Katie Deal, and we were excited to speak with her as well.
Love me as long as you want it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Katie Deal. And Katie, you are quite known around the state. When people mention your name, they always mention your parents.
Of course,
You
yes.
know that, yeah. So growing up in that household, first of all, what was that like for you?
It wasn't that notable when I was younger because my dad was more of a local politician and then a state senator. And then when I got into middle school, he became a U.S. House of Representative.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really until I was an adult that I have had statewide notoriety because of my dad.
Well, we welcome you to Dublin. Is this your first time in Dublin?
I've been through here before, but this is my first time performing here, so I'm
we're
excited.
so pleased. And your parents are here this evening to be able to watch you.
Yeah, they
You
do.
love that, don't you?
Yeah, my mom is my worst critic, so,
Oh, I
so
believe it.
it's always an interesting after show.
Yeah. Yeah, she just has to give you a little motherly advice.
Of course, no.
Yeah. But you have very driven parents, educators. Your parents obviously want to take the next step in being a better person and helping people around them, and they put a lot of drive in you, obviously.
I think in all of us, I'm the youngest of 4, and so all of us are pretty driven. We sort of have a family joke that we are expected to be extraordinary, and that's expectation of ourselves.
Yes,
so,
yes, that's right.
So yes, I think we're all pretty driven.
So you have to sing at all the gatherings? I mean, you're the performer around the house at Christmas?
Yes,
And anytime you're just hanging out on the back porch or anything?
I think they've all had their fill of me now, so I don't get the request that often.
Yeah. So where did your love of singing and music, where did that start?
When I was a kid, my mom is from a very musical family, and so music was just always around. And I tried very hard not to sing country music for most of my life because that was my roots, but eventually found my way back into that scene. So that's mostly what I do now is country music. But so it's really fun to be able to do things like this with an orchestra.
Yeah.
And sing I'm singing some country music, but also some other standards here today. So it's going to be an interesting thing.
And it's always so impressive to me when you get those classic country songs and then you have an orchestra with it, and it's like, man.
Yeah, that
really comes
countrypolitan
alive.
Nashville sound. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah. So when did you first sing before public? Church, maybe?
Yes. In my house, I grew up singing in church. I think I did my first solo when I was about 8 years old, in front of the whole congregation of First Baptist, and it was on air on radio.
Yeah.
And I forgot the second verse of my song and plowed right through. And
Almost no one knew.
yeah, well, my uncle was so sweet. He'd come to see me, and he's a musician, and he came up to me afterwards, and he said, "Well, you treated it like a pro." So, and that's stuck with me through my whole career.
Just keep going, right?
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yep.
All right. So when you come out to, I guess, a more rural area like this, you get to travel around. I mean, I guess sometimes with the Symphony, you go into other states as well.
I have not traveled outside of the states with the orchestra, but I do travel internationally. I've got a show coming up in Canada pretty soon, so I'm fortunate enough to be able to travel a lot. And these guys also travel quite a bit, so any chance I get to sing with them, it's always fun.
Yeah, and you bring so much culture here to us. This is 15 years for the Pops to come to Dublin.
Oh, that's great. I
know.
didn't know that.
Yeah, 15 years.
Wow.
And we love it every time. So much energy. We fill the place up. It's just wonderful. Our arts people bring them in.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just exciting.
Well, I'm thrilled to
for
be a
us.
part of it, and I'm excited to see what the energy's like tonight.
All right, so if we look back and we say, what's the oldest country song you sing? Let's talk about that.
Oh, goodness. It depends on what show. I have lots of different shows I do, and I do mostly focus on classic country. That's what I love. I sing a lot of Patsy Cline. I'm going to be singing one of her songs tonight. So I really like to sing music from the 50s and the 60s. Of course, I'm a child of the late 70s, so I grew up on 80s country music, so I like to sing that too. So it just depends. But I love the Carter family. I love, so that's late 20s.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Got a real genre there. Okay,
Yeah.
now what about individual music? What about something that you wrote or someone wrote for you? It's your own.
Yeah, I do that as well. I've been working with a group in Nashville lately and songwriting, and so not going to be doing one of my songs tonight, but I do have an arrangement coming up. Hopefully, next time I sing with the orchestra, I will get to do my own song.
Do you write?
I do.
Wonderful. All right, so how would one go online and find and maybe enjoy some of your individual music?
Well, I have a few things up on my website. It's a great way to find me. It's katiedeal.com. That's KATIEDEAL.com.
All right. This is Katie Deal, everyone. It's going to be a wonderful performance this evening. Maybe we get a glimpse of the governor as well, huh?
I'm sure he'll be around. You can find him.
All right. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you.
For more information on the Dublin Lawrence Arts Council, log on to DublinLawrenceArtsCouncil.com.